And we are live. Hi, everyone. My name is author Sarah Eber, and we are going to be exploring Canva today. I'm going to give everybody some time to log on, make sure that everything we have is all set to go. So if you are just joining us, please feel free to make sure that you are logged into YouTube so that you can participate in the chat feature because I very much encourage people to ask me questions via chat about my design process, about my, any tips and tricks that I maybe forget about or don't get around to, or if you just have general questions about Canva, please feel free to put those in the chat, and I will do my best to answer all the questions that come my way. A little bit about me before we dive into Canva and what I'm doing on YouTube right now. You may be familiar with streamers who stream themselves playing video games and just having conversations about the video game that they're playing. That's really what I'm doing in Canva today. I talk about playing in Canva because for me this platform is so user-friendly. It's so much fun, like for me, as at the end of the day or even the beginning of the day, opening up Canva and playing around with designs that are showcasing my books it's something that I find to be extremely enjoyable. And I have been using Canva for over 2 years now. Back before that, I was in the land of Microsoft Paint, where I would take little screenshots of my book covers and try to cobble together some type of design for social media. And I wasn't getting a whole lot of traction on my books. At the time, I was independently published, so I was really having to rely on myself for all marketing. And so I kind of put an SOS out into the social media world of like, hey, like what should we be using to create our own graphics? Because I will tell you right now, I have learned how to use Photoshop because it was just like kind of the next step for me as a graphic designer. But when I first started doing this, I had absolutely no clue how to use Photoshop. All I really know in Photoshop is how to change somebody's hair color and their eye color. So that's the extent of my graphic design knowledge. But Canva, there's something about Canva that I just absolutely love. It allows me to have all of my work in one space, which is really helpful. I don't have to go digging around my computer to figure out like where images are. It has a great organization system. Their customer support, I always mention this because I come from a customer support background in technology, and I'm always impressed when I come across great customer support. And Canva is one of those businesses, because if there's an issue or if you have a feature request, they are extremely responsive when it comes to submitting a feature request. There's actually been a few features that I have requested that I've seen implemented into the platform. And you might think, oh, well, Sarah, that's because like you're a Canva person. It's like, I'm not associated with Canva at all. That's a disclaimer to this stream today. I am not an employee of Canva. I don't get any special perks from Canva. I just love this platform, and I think that if more authors especially took the time to dedicate to understanding some of the ins and outs to what's available, you would see like, wow, there's so much at our disposal that we can use to like help promote our books and to make things much better from a social media content perspective, because our publishers are expecting us to be more involved on social media. And I don't know about you, but I don't have much going on in my my life in general other than writing and taking pictures of my dog. So it's really hard for me to come up with content on a daily basis to share with readers, to share with authors, to share with the community in general, to get people involved on social media. So thank goodness I found a platform that allows me to use stock photography, stock elements, stock video, stock sounds to create images, videos that I can share on a daily basis so it looks like I have some type of social media presence. And I have to say it's been working. I think in the past like couple months alone, my like followers on social media have doubled. So I also like to think that that has to do with my dog, because when we got Evie, she like definitely upped my social media game. And that's one thing that you're going to see me actually lean into during today's stream is, when in doubt, use your pets. They live in your house rent free. They can contribute a little to being a part of your social media world. Pets are such a great way to incorporate engagement with users. Readers love pets. Other authors love pets. That's like, if you take away anything from today's stream, it's if you need to post something, post a picture of your pet. So we're going to go through today, and really like this is a session of me being in Canva. I don't have like a step-by-step presentation planned out to share. I really encourage everybody to put in questions that they have in the chat. I already see that we have some folks logging on. I'm so glad that you're here, Diane and Leah. It's great to have you. Please feel free to ask away. I'm going to share as much as I can about my workflows in Canva, and basically like I have actually, I'm going to be making some graphics today that I have to be using later in the week because I'm doing a book promotion for one of my indie published books. You Can't Handle the Truth is going to be on sale for 99 cents on Kindle this coming weekend. So I've got to create promos to display on social media. So I'm going to be going through creating static images. I'm going to create some animated images, and you guys will see like how easy Canva makes it to take a static image and make it into something that's moving and eye-catching. And then depending on how long that goes, I can move things through Canva really quickly, but I am going to take it a little bit slow and kind of talk through some of the features that are available and that you guys may not be aware about, as well as hopefully maybe getting to creating some reels. The reel space is still very new to me. The only time that my reels like ever gain any traction are when they're of my dog. So if we can incorporate Evie and my book sale into a reel, we might have something. So again, we're just gonna kind of go through a day in the life of me using Canva. I like to be as prepared as possible when it comes to social media, because who knows, like if I wake up tomorrow and I don't have time to interact on social media, I want to make sure that I have something already created that I can easily, pull out of the recesses of my computer, that I can post and share with followers, just to keep that presence and that engagement. So I like to plan ahead. Because I love using it so much, I am in Canva every day, Monday through Friday. I do take the weekends off. And I'm in here every day, but mostly because for me, it's honestly therapeutic, because it is just like very calming. It's something that I really enjoy. I know for a lot of people out there, this type of stuff is a nightmare, because you look at this program and you're like, where do I go? Where do I click? What do I do? What content do I display? So I'm hoping that I can shine a little bit of a light on, it doesn't have to be scary. It can be, it can be fun. And hopefully today both with your questions and your engagement, and you seeing me probably make a lot of spelling mistakes because I am a horrible speller, so I'll probably have a million things that I spell wrong that will need to be corrected. But you know, you'll get to see my process and hopefully how easy and streamlined that this could become for you if you were to, commit the time to learning Canva, as well as just making that commitment to yourself. Because the best thing I did for my book career, my writing career, was to invest my time and money into learning how to design social media graphics. I say money because I do use the Canva Pro membership. I pay for it. I'm an annual subscriber, so I pay. I think it ends up it's less than $10 a month when it boils down to it, and the amount of return that I get is like it's the one thing out of all the stuff that I spend money on for my writing career that I'm like I get a return on my Canva Pro membership because all of this that I have access to, I don't have to worry about any licensing. I don't have to worry about any like right infringement. It's just like available for me to use, and it's amazing. You will see throughout when I'm like clicking around in Canva, and you can actually see it right now on my screen here, up where it says resize. That little crown icon, that's going to be an indicator of something that is available through their Canva Pro membership. There are a lot of free features, surprisingly. I mean, I'm surprised by how much Canva lets us use for free on their platform. But there are a lot of great features that are behind that Canva Pro paywall. But when it comes to like an Adobe Photoshop membership, which is $20-something a month, versus a Canva Pro membership and what you have access to and the ease of which it is to use the platform, it's hands down so much. It's worth it. But I do know that not everybody has the resources to do that, so just keep an eye out for like what is a Canva Pro item versus what is available for free on the platform, because you can use this very effectively for free. So with that whole spiel being said, I want to get into designing because I don't want to keep everybody here for too long. I could be in Canva for hours and hours and hours on end, but I won't have that stream go this long. It'll probably run an hour, hour and a half maybe, and then of course it will be available to watch on YouTube once everything concludes. So again, please feel free to put questions that you have about what I'm doing in the chat. I'm going to be talking through what I'm doing as I'm doing it, my thought process, what is going on in my brain, which is sometimes chaotic, but we should have fun. I don't want you guys to be scared of what I'm doing here. I love Canva. I can't say that enough. And so I hope that you will find it to be great and wonderful too by the end of this. So with that being said, let's get started. So what you've been seeing right now is an image that I created this morning as just like my little welcome for today's session. And this is what I've referred to as my main screen of the design. So this is what I am currently working on. How Canva works is you can have multiple projects open at the same time, so you can bounce between many different things. I love to keep multiple projects open because, especially if I'm working within the same book space, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, what I mean by book space, in just a moment. I can pull elements from all of those different projects and incorporate them throughout the whole platform. So I don't have to like open something and then close it and then copy and insert something elsewhere. Like it has a really nice flow of what I can copy and paste and import from other active projects. So if I actually head to the home screen, just by clicking the little home icon, you're gonna see my like landing page. And there's a great search feature here that you can search your content or projects that you've created. There are a ton of templates that are available in Canva. And if you're like scraping the bottom of the barrel of like, I don't know what to post today, Canva has a template for basically everything, especially like all of the different days that we have, like national, I don't know, National Hot Dog Day, National Donut Day. Like there is a template for literally everything in this platform. So you can really start, you don't have to start from scratch if you're not sure like where to even begin. I don't do a lot of templating from Canva because since I've used the platform so extensively, I've actually created my own templates and that are reflective of not only my like books themselves, but of my author brand. And talking about your author brand is extremely important to consider when you are developing and you're curating your social media profiles, because it can serve as like a really nice subconscious way to market to your readers and your followers in general. And what I mean is, by selecting the same colors, by having the same color palette that you're utilizing over and over again, the same fonts. I'm like I love fonts. Like I love Canva, but I love fonts. I'm addicted to them. I like seriously have a problem of like going and buying fonts because I love what a font can say about you as an author, your characters, your book covers. You'll see like how much I get into fonts because it's a big part of like my author brand, because I use the same fonts over and over so that when people see not only postings by me, but maybe like they're out in the real world and they see something that's utilizing the same color scheme or the same font that I use, then they're gonna say, oh, like that looks like Sarah Burr, and it may not be anything that's like remotely related to me, but I'm in their brain and they're thinking about me, which is something that like you really, really want to strive for, because you want to have that type of engagement where you're like in the back of somebody's mind. So they're like, oh, Sarah, I should look at what she's doing. Does she have a new book out? And making sure that like you're planting the seeds in your design so that people are thinking about you out in the real world, not just on social media. So what I like to do personally is I have set projects in Canva. I have probably hundreds, if not over 1,000 projects that I've done in Canva since I began using it. But over time, I have become a little bit more streamlined with my workflows, where instead of like having an individual like image for each project, like, oh, here is, here's my streaming banner. And here is the second streaming banner, or here's the cover image of the streaming banner. I have everything related to my streaming project all in one area. And the reason why I like to fall back on that is because I can utilize the same fonts, colors, and the same layout, and really just like pull all the same elements and build on it, because Canva remembers everything that's been used in a project. And it's extremely helpful for keeping that brand on point. To be a little bit more visual with what I'm saying, I'm opening up what I have labeled as my Glenmeyer Wim social graphics. Now, what that means, and you can see here at the bottom of the screen, is I have, 33 images that I have designed for Instagram and Facebook. I use the same, even though this says Instagram, I've recently started using the same pixel ratio for both Instagram and Facebook, because Facebook is beginning to move toward the square ratio, where Instagram, for a long time I was doing, I think it's like 940 by 7 something. So it was a rectangle that you were posting on Facebook, and you can post non-square images on Instagram as well. But to have that nice like clean look on your Instagram profile, you really want to lean into squares. And like I have resisted for as long as I could, but now I'm just doing squares all the time because it's much easier. So I have everything sized in that square format. And you can see that I have a bunch of different designs here that I just have like at the ready. And they are, you know, you can see that they're all for my book, You Can't Handle the Truth. And you can see that I'm using all the same colors. I'm using, you know, similar fonts, similar styles, just to like really drive home that brand of this is my book and this is what this book, you know, represents from a color and font perspective. And as I like develop more and more content, I can, you know, go here to reference all of my my Glenmeyer Whim social media graphics, so that anytime that I need content, I know where to go. We have a question. Where did I save these designs? So the great thing about Canva is like saving just like happens magically. I honestly don't know like how they support all of this work. But basically, you know, everything lives in this recent design area on the homepage. So if you go back to your homepage and take a look at, you know, you can go to either recent designs. There's also the project tab, and on the project tab, you can see, you know, recent projects that you've worked on. You can use their folder system, which I'm a big fan of. I like use their folders all the time, and I'll segue into folders right now just so that like you guys can see how I organize things. But basically, I have items that are associated with my author brand. And so anytime that I say author brand, it's when I'm posting something about me writing, or, you know, so like it's a writing update, it's a, oh wow, like I'm struggling really hard right now with this scene, or giving a look behind the curtain of like, hey, writing isn't as glamorous as some people think it is, but it's also celebrating like the wins and all of that good stuff. So these are items that I've curated that are a part of my author brand. And I pull from. I have items dedicated to my Court of Mystery series. I have items dedicated to my Glenmeyer Whim mysteries, the trending topic mysteries, my book blogger mysteries. I've got a lot of mysteries that I have to juggle. And then within each of these folders, I have more folders. So that I can reference things. You know, I have characters that I have selected that look like some of the characters that are in my books when I'm creating character-based images. I have elements that I have found through Canva, and this is, I'll show you again where these live when we get into the actual designs. You know, I save elements that I like want to use on a repeat basis. In my folders section, you can create a folder for everything. It's wonderful. One thing that I actually don't do, I know that I have one that says Court of Mystery Designs, but I have way more Court of Mystery Designs than just 60 of them. But these are ones that like I know that I'm going to be referencing multiple times, you know, over and over and over again. You know, here's my Facebook banner that features all of the books in the series. I have my Court of Mystery infographics, so I'll pull this up and you can see like here are my different projects still like they're still like ready and at the waiting. So here on this particular infographic, you know, I have some that are like mid-design because I never finished getting around to them. But you can see here that, you know, I have all of these. I'll pull them up through this channel. You know, this one was me like just doing an excerpt that I wanted to share with readers. Here is another just a generic image of, you know, just informing people of, hey, you know, we're now available on audiobook. And so that I have like all of these items that I can reference, you know, if I need to quickly like pull something up. So again, those live under the Your Projects, and that's where you can really save as much as you want and be as detailed as you'd like. I'll pull up my Glenmeyer Whim Mysteries folder here because, you know, I've got book 1 where I have all of my my digital images uploaded that I can, you know, quickly put into a design. I have images for book 2 that I'm getting ready to release. So you can see like everything, like this is like a huge workstation for me because I can pull up all of these designs at the drop of the hat. And just like a pro tip here, like you'll see that I have these like book images available and saved here. I utilize BookBrush for those. BookBrush is another great platform that is built specifically for authors, and they do a lot of great webinars and about like how to design ads and create really lovely graphics. And I am a platinum member of BookBrush. I absolutely cannot live without the 3D book images that they have available for download. I don't do a lot of my designing in BookBrush. And I'm not 100% sure why. I think it's just because Canva got to me first, and I learned Canva enough that I was like, okay, I can do everything that you can do in BookBrush in Canva, and that's kind of my spiel. But BookBrush is another great platform, especially their instant mock-ups, where you just upload a picture of your cover and select like generic images of like your book on a coffee table, or your book near a candle, or your book near a cup of coffee. And that's another lifesaver, especially for like really speedy, like I don't even have time to design anything in Canva. I'm going to just use one of these instant mock-ups and upload it to my socials. Okay, so let's get to designing, and feel free to like keep asking me questions as we're going about, but I want to show you how I use the platform, and where I'm clicking, how I'm pulling things together. So again, I'm going to start in my this huge project that I have for my Glenmeyer Mysteries. I'm getting ready to do a sale on Kindle for 99 cents. So I'm going to come to the end of this project and just hit that little plus button to get a blank window. I also can view all of my projects in like this stream view, where I can just keep scrolling, and it takes forever. So I'm just going to drag all the way down, and then you can also add a page through that method. This is how I normally view things, just because I mean this workbook is 34 pages long, so I don't have a lot that are this big, and it was just easier to use that little tab at the bottom to get to where I needed to go. But I'm going to start just with a blank canvas, but it's not really blank. So what I would, and why I say that, it's because I'm going to be allowed to be pulling everything from my existing project into this one image without having to do a whole lot of searching. So what do I mean by that? I need some text. Let's just start with the basics. Go to my text window. And here I have access to add a heading, add a subheading, add a little bit of body of text. And you'll notice here that I have something called an author brand. There's my fun word again. One of the things that I absolutely love about Canva is the brand kit. And the reason why I love the brand kit is because not only can I upload logos specific to my my book series or my just author self, I can set color palettes, I can set font types, I can set I can like upload separate fonts for the designs for my Glenmeyer Whim Mysteries versus fonts that are available in the Court of Mystery series, because there's a ton of fonts in here, and so to just like limit scrolling, it can be really easy just to like have a certain set of fonts available per book or per topic. So because I'm in my Glenmeyer Whim Mysteries, I'm going to switch over to working from my author brand. If we have time, I'll show you like where you can go to set up your author brand, but I just want to show you it in action today. So you'll notice here that the brand name displays, as well as the heading, subheading, and a little bit of text. And they're different than the ones that I had for the author brand. And so I'm going to start off with a heading. And because this is so let's talk a little bit about content for a moment. I said this is going to be an image that is going to be showcasing the book being on sale for 99 cents on Kindle. So I need to think before I design anything new, and this goes for any design that you're making, what is your goal? What goal do you need to accomplish by uploading this graphic to your social media page? Are you trying to get more followers? Are you trying to get people to engage with you? Are you trying to get people to buy your book? In the instance of, hey, this is a 99 cent book sale, I'm going to try to get people to buy my book. So I really want to focus on elements that are going to drive people into being interested in what my book is about, and know like the platform that it's available on, and so forth. So with that being said, because this book is going to be on sale for 99 cents, my go-to when it comes to like catching someone's attention is let's create a hook. Or let's have a hook involved with our image. And the saying, a picture says 1,000 words. We want to make sure it's saying the right words. And there are some words that can be a little lukewarm in how they're used. And so one thing that I want to talk about is like quote selection. I attended a webinar myself where I was listening to a presenter talk about what works, what doesn't work when it comes to quotes, and really the main the main gist of that webinar, this was by Sky Warren, is we see a quote and we're like, oh wow, like that person liked our book, and they said, I liked this book. The word like to us as writers is awesome because, oh wow, like somebody enjoyed our story. But when a stranger is scrolling through Instagram and they see something that's like, oh, I like this book, it's kind of like a meh, okay, well, like isn't amazing, or like isn't fantastic, and so you begin to see like the quotes that we think would be amazing to read as the author of the work actually become something that are a little bit of a detractive from the image itself. So when you're considering quotes, I like to lean towards ones that are very short, ones that have either a snappy like rhythm to them, ones that like are maybe a play on words. There are a lot of reviewers that are really clever with how they review a book, especially for this book. It's about a candle maker, so a lot of people were making like candle puns, which obviously I love because the book is titled You Can't Candle the Truth. It's a pun itself. And so things like that are really fun because it's like, oh, that's different. And it takes like the person scrolling through Instagram a moment to be like, wait, what's going on here? And so it makes them think, it makes them pause, it makes them stop, and it makes them engage. Words to veer away from. This was a good book. This was I see a lot of people leaning into the word good, and good isn't great. And that might sound cruel, and I don't mean to discourage anyone who's gotten a review that's like, this is a really good book, and it's a 5-star review. It's like, oh, if only they had used like a more descriptive word, because you want those words that pack a punch. And if you don't have quotes that have those punchy words, lean into the hook of your series. When we're querying, we have to come up with little log lines, little taglines, mottos to like hook our readers, hook the agent, hook the publisher. So begin to think of like, hey, this is somebody you're querying for new readers when you're creating these designs. So you can kind of think about utilizing content in that manner. So that's my little spiel on quotes. And I hope it's not too soul crushing, because when I learned that like, oh my God, all of the quotes that I was using were just like quotes because it was like, oh, this is so good. That can actually like be a detractor, because good isn't going to sell something for you. You have to like rely really hard on catching someone's attention and making sure that like you are grabbing your reader, because otherwise people are just scrolling, because, and this is something else that's really important to notice, that especially on Instagram, and I'm guilty of this 100%, I rarely read captions. And I am probably one of the, like, very much an ideal demographic when it comes to Instagram, because I love to use it. I'm on it quite a bit. And if my habits are reflective of anybody else's habits out there, like, captions aren't going to sell your book for you on Instagram. It's the image. If I see, the first thing that I see is an image, and I probably am going to look at your image, I'm going to like it, and then I might read the caption. So if you think about that, like, what you put in your caption shouldn't be what you're trying to sell your book with. So especially in my mind frame where my book is going to be on sale for 99 cents, I need to make sure that that 99-cent sale is like up close and personal on the graphic itself, because otherwise if I just leave that information for the caption, one in who knows how many people are actually going to read it. So let's start by building out our design. And the reason why I've been scrolling back and looking at things is because I want to see, like, okay, have I already used something that I can modify or just rework before to design this particular graphic today? And that's like one of the things I love about using Canva as frequently as I do, is I have so much to pull from. And I can, really just begin to take bits and pieces of other graphics and create a design. So I am just looking through here. Let's start. Oh, you can see I've already actually, when I have had a 99-cent sale, this was during the holidays, so obviously it was leaning into like a holiday theme. Let's see. I think I'm going to do something pun related. So let's use that. Okay. And so let's see. I'm going to start off with my, I've used this before. Can candle maker Hazel catch a killer, or will they snuff her out first? You're like, Sarah, look how big that is. It's taking up the whole image. What's going on? No one's gonna even look at this a second. Okay, so I'm gonna do some things and then I'm gonna talk about what I've done. So first things first, I'm going to take half of what I just wrote and I'm gonna just cut it. And I used my keyboard to do Control X to cut it so that I do have it saved to paste later. I didn't simply delete it. Because what I like to do is I like to create designs that have a question up front with a resolution down at the bottom. So that you're kind of forcing the reader to read here and then like, okay, well, what's the resolution? And then move on and continue taking in the graphic. So I have these two items that are here. You'll notice, okay, well, I've got, this is one font and this is another. I think I'm going to change up my fonts completely. So I'm going to first start with the top row and click on the font menu over here. And you're going to see not only up at the top, this is going to show all of the fonts that have been used in your project to date. And this is one of those reasons why I love designing from a project standpoint, because I have reference to all these other fonts that I've used that are associated in some way with the brand that I've been building for my Glenmeyer Whim Mysteries. So it makes it really easy to like remain on brand because all of that information is available for you here. So I've selected this Mountains of Christmas font, which again, love fonts, love their weird, wacky names. But I'm going to do a little bit more adjustment on how this like line looks in general. And so up here, I use line spacing a lot. This is probably out of all of like the things that the modifications and such that you can do in this platform. I think that line spacing is a place that I am going probably every other design because of how fonts are structured and built, like I like to have things tight and very close together to utilize as much space that I can. So I'm always using my line spacing feature to make everything tight and keep it condensed as possible. And then I am going to go in and look at my colors because again, I have been using, you can see here, this document colors area. These are all the colors that I've been using in this one project. So again, talking about brand, cultivating themes that you're using repetitively so that readers and your followers begin to associate those colors with your book, with you, and anywhere out in the world. So I can, quickly utilize the document colors that I have already used in the past. You'll notice down here, I also have brand colors that I have selected. So these are other colors that I have been using that are associated with the Glenmire Wynn Mysteries. And I've also have these set color palettes, which I really love because Canva did all that hard work for me, where I could just select these palettes from their platform itself and have them readily accessible. Continuing on, I can even use photo colors where I can pull colors directly from the images that I've used themselves, which is really, really great if you're just starting out and you want to build a brand around your book cover. You can see here that the icon is pretty tiny, but you can see that we have this, the icon of my book that I can reference and pull forward those colors. And I'm actually going to do that right now. I'm going to use this particular purple because I know that it matches my book cover specifically. I'm pausing really quickly to read a question that we have. Do we have any brand crossovers between your different book series, or does each book get its own brand with its own fonts, colors, etc.? Yes, I do have some crossover, which I actually just realized because I was looking at these different color palettes that you can see here on my brand kit. I have a lot of crossover between my books because I want to find some way to keep them all tied together. And when I was first beginning to think about this this task of creating my author brand and my book brand, I write a medieval cozy mystery series. I write a paranormal cozy mystery series, and I also write 2 just contemporary modern cozies. And so, yes, you'll see that I have colors that are very similar across all these different platforms. So you can see I've tied blues into my cozies, but also have tied that into my author brand a little bit. And I have purple tied into the Court of Mystery. And obviously, even though it wasn't in the primary, let me go back to the color palette. It wasn't in that primary cozy colors section, which you can actually see I typed cozy colors because I wanted to use those same tones throughout all of my cozy work. I have a lot of different purples. So for the color scheme, yes, I do have them all kind of blend together a little bit because I want that continuity of who I am. I don't want to be an author that is stretched all over the place with one day I'm talking about this random looking thing and then I'm posting about this random thing specifically because of that Instagram grid. So that's a really good question to point out, Leah. And then Marilyn, the fonts that I use, Canva has a ton of different fonts, but because I am really oddly obsessed with fonts, I love font shopping. I use myfonts.com to purchase the licensing for them. And what I do with the fonts, that's where I differ on my brand. Let me actually pull it up so you guys can see. Every different brand has a different, how many times can I say the word different? Has a different font associated with it. So that's where I have the differentiating factors. So I have here for, the Glenmeyer Whim Mysteries, I have this fun, like, woo, whimsical font. And then I'll switch over to the Trending Topic Mysteries. And here I've actually used the fonts that were utilized on my covers. You can either ask your publisher or whomever is designing your cover to let you know, like, hey, what's the name of the font that you used? And this particular one, I think, Playlist Script. This is something that is available in Canva. Just to let you know, let me pull up the fonts that are available in Canva. These are all the ones that I've uploaded. And you can see, like, I love fonts, so I upload a lot of fonts. And then we have here under popular fonts, like these are the ones that people who use Canva are utilizing the most. I know that I'm probably going to ruffle a few feathers by saying this, but a lot of people like sans serif script that's like very straightforward, no frills about it. And that's great because it easily conveys a message. It's easy to read what you're displaying. I'm a person that I love to lean more into fun fonts because to me they have character of their own. So you can see, like, with how this Can Candlemaker Hazel Catch a Killer, it's all like rickety rackety and kooky looking. So you know that, like, this is not a hard crime novel. It's light, it's fun. Yes, it's about murder, but it's about a candle maker that, she's got like a little whimsical element about her. So it's not like super serious. And I think that the font conveys that. And so I think that fonts have a lot of power to set the tone of of how you're designing your graphics. And I'm still scrolling. That was just like what I'm scrolling through now is just like the popular fonts. And now we're getting to the English-based fonts. And you can see here that the ones that have the crowns by them, those are Canva Pro only. But there's actually a lot that, like, don't have the crown by them. And a lot of fun fonts that don't have the crown by them. Like here, we can see, like, this one's like really pretty. And I'm also a big fan of fonts that look like handwriting. I don't know why. I think it adds like a more personalized element to your Instagram account or any design that you're doing, because it looks like, oh, they actually wrote this, even though I just typed it on a computer. So yeah, there's tons and tons and tons of fonts that are available on Canva Pro, just on the free basic Canva. And even though that might be like, oh wow, like that's so generous of them, fonts are actually something that can be easily sourced for free across the internet. Definitely always be on the lookout for licensing issues, because you can get caught like, oh, like I didn't license this properly. But if you go to Google, I think it's just Google Fonts, googlefonts.com, or just search or Google Fonts, and you'll see like all of these free font types that you can download. And then to upload them into Canva, it's super, super easy. I'll actually just show you. I'm bouncing back to my home page. I'm going to dive into the brand kit really quickly. And I'll just like pretend that I'm going to my Glenmeyer, making an update to my Glenmeyer Mysteries brand. You can see I have all of my logos uploaded. I say logo, they're not logos, decals, stickers, they're just like little icons. And the reason why I'm like super like nervous about the word logo is because logos are supposed to be like unique designs that are trademarked. When you think of the Nike logo, like that is something that like I couldn't replicate for fear of like getting my butt suit off. So because all of my logos are designed in Canva, they're not like unique things that I created from scratch. So that's like one thing. Like I don't design logos for other people because of licensing issues. The only thing that I do is I create like little series images. So that's my little like legal spiel. But anyway, uploading fonts, literally just click on this button that's upload the font. You guys probably can't see it pop up here because of how this like stream works. But a Windows folder window will appear, and you just upload the file that you purchased into Canva, because like fonts come in like a specific font file, and it's really just click and upload. And so you can see like here are all the uploaded fonts that I have for the Glenmeyer Mysteries. I have a lot of them, and again, like I do have some that kind of cross over between different books, just because I like the font so much. So that's my little detour on fonts. So back to our design, but great questions. Please keep them coming. So I've got, can Candle Maker Hazel catch a killer? But I was like, well, I have this weird add heading thing. All I do, just remove it. It's really easy to delete things in Canva. You can use the remove button, or you can actually come here and just hit the delete button on your keyboard. And again, like, whoops, I didn't want to delete that. Control Z, and I get it back. And so I've got everything configured here. But I'm like, oh, this is like Pumpkin Island font. It's different size. My line spacing's all out of whack. The color's different, and I really don't want to take the time to, you know, try to go through and like highlight, select, all of that good stuff. Here's one of the fun things that I love about Canva. I go to my More menu, and sometimes it doesn't even display under More. It's because my computer screen is so blown up because I'm basically blind and I need things to be huge. So it's going to be up here in your toolbar. You're going to see this little paint roller icon, and you'll see when you hover over it, it says copy style. I love this feature. This is another one besides line spacing that like I think is like a super pro move. I'm going to just click that style. And because I've already highlighted this font window, I come down here and click it, and it automatically adjusts it to the same size, the same line spacing, the same font, the same color. And so I don't have to spend time like redoing what I did earlier. So that makes things super easy. Again, it's this under the copy style paint roller. Click on it, and then click on the icon that you want, or click on the section that you want to look to be copied. So that's another one of my like favorite little tips that they have. Okay, so I'm going to do some spacing here. You'll notice like the pink lines that are popping up. These grid lines are really amazing because they tell you like, are you centered? You know, are you dead square in the middle of your graphic? So this is really helpful for placement. If you're like me, I'm like obsessed with having things meticulously placed where they are. So I rely on those lines very much. And the cool thing about it is that if you highlight multiple items at the same time, and I did that by clicking on this particular element, holding shift on my keyboard and clicking this element, and now I can like move these around together, and they're not going to be they're not going to be shifted from position. So that grouping element is really, really helpful. Okay, so I have my text that I'm going to start with. Who knows if this is where we're going to end up. But before I go much further, I need to like add some imagery into this, because I just need to get in the headspace of like, okay, like what is this design going to look like? And again, like I haven't thought about this at all today. So I'm like doing this on the fly as we're going through this process. So bear with me while I kind of play around with things. But what I want first and foremost, because I'm trying to sell my book, I need a picture of my book. So I'm going to go into my folders that I have created, and you can see here on the sides that I have a bunch of folders popping up. These are all of the different like tools, locations, images, audio, photos that are accessible to me. Like you can see here, like this photos icon, this gives me access to all of like Canva's immense photo library. And you can obviously like filter out things, so you can see items that are just available for free, This cutout only feature is, I think, relatively new. This is the first time that I'm seeing it, and that's another thing. Like, Canva is always updating things, and I love it because they're always giving us new stuff. But it can be a little like, whoa, like where did this come from? But hey, they give us a nice little explanation with letting us know that images with a transparent background, which that could be really awesome. I'm actually going to start with that and hit apply. And because I've got a candle maker, I'm just going to type in candle and see what happens. And so you can see, like, right away I'm getting all of these like transparent images back. And I love transparent images because you can then build off of your background around it. I'm trying to see if there's any one that like really speaks to me at the moment. I don't know how a light bulb is a candle, but go figure. I'll start with this one. And I am a fan for my cozy mysteries. I like to lean into like the illustrated vector type space, especially for my Glenmeyer Whim mysteries, because my covers are more like, they look hand drawn rather than like realistic, I guess. So I like tend to use images that build off of that. So I like how this candle is not like a real candle, but it kind of looks real. So I'm gonna just keep this here for now. I might get rid of it, who knows. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll down to my Glenmeyer folder, and again, like, I've already uploaded this information. I'm gonna go to my images. You can see that I've saved images that I've used in the past, so I can, like, reuse them, different elements. And let's see, ooh, I like this. I like this candle combination better than I like this one. But I don't necessarily like this purple background because that's going to be a lot of purple. So what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to edit this image, and I'm going to click this background remover feature, which I was just like geeking out about the cutouts available in their photo library. But the background remover makes like any photo transparent, and it allows you to like have a lot of fun with your background and to really customize your own image. So you can see here that like everything disappeared except these candles and the flower. So I'm just going to do a little bit of cropping to bring everything down into more of like a stickery image. And I'm just going to leave it there for now. Okay, so now let's see. I'm going to go back. I have to find my books. Here we go. All right, so book one, I am going to use, since it is a Kindle sale, I'm going to use my Kindle image that I have. And you can see this is already transparent for me so that I can have my background available once I select it. And if I look to see, I want there to be a little bit of depth to this image, so I'm going to position the candles so that they're overlapping my book just a little bit. And I like to have that depth when I'm creating an image to give to make it look like this is popping off of your phone screen. Some people don't like it, and some people will be like, well, I don't want my book being covered. But it's like so minimal that like I think sometimes the payout's worth it because you just have like that much more like depth to your image. So I've got my book, these candles, but now I need to like figure out like, okay, what else am I got? What else do I need to really tell in this image? And I have to say that my book is 99 cents because like that is a must, because that's what people are going to be intrigued by, because whoa, it's cheap. So I'm going to scroll back a little bit in time, because remember I was like, oh, I did another 99-cent sale a while ago at Christmas. And I'm going to like take some of these elements and customize them. So I just highlighted these elements. I'm going to hit Control C on my keyboard, How do I group up the images? In this manner, I literally just take my mouse and I drag over the images that I want selected. Otherwise, if I wanted to have many of them, I would click the first element and I would hold the shift key and I would select Kindle Unlimited, I would select the circle, and let's say I want to add this book cover into the mix. So you can see all of these blue lines that are slowly like growing as I'm selecting more images. And at that point, I can hit Control C to copy everything, and then I can paste that onto either a new design or on the same design, whatever, what have you. And I'll show you a little bit more about grouping as I continue building out this, because there are other ways that you can group up images and have them stay grouped up. So I had copied my 99-cent sale, and so I have that listed here. I'm like, whew, that red color is clashing real bad with what we have going on here. So let's start by using the color picker feature. And the color picker is so wonderful because it allows you to just like select any color within the Canva screen. Like I can't obviously click on this and click the eyedropper and like go onto a different window, but anything within the Canva application. So if you're like, wow, I really like this Canva blue, you could select that. You could select that Canva blue right there. But I like to use the color picker especially when I'm doing a design that's based around a book cover, because I can select, even the tiniest like smidge of color and incorporate it. So you can see that I selected that pink. It automatically pops up here into my document colors. I can see the code available. So another pro tip, I use Canva to design all of my website images. And so for my website, I want to make sure that I have like the same color palette that I use in my newsletter. So I use Canva to like tell me like what are the color codes available, because otherwise you have to go to like you have to like go to some website, you have to upload the image and select the color that you want, when really you could just come into Canva, pull up the image that you're using on your website, your newsletter, what have you, and just do the color picker from there to get your color code. So that's like a utilization of Canva that it's like really random. So I've used the color picker to match the like pinky magenta that I have in the background with my on sale sign. Now, as I'm looking at this, I need a little bit more oomph to this image, which I'm going to get that from my background. And to start out, I'm going to show you guys a couple areas that you can pull backgrounds from. I'm a big believer in using a photo background and updating the photo to work to your needs. You can come to the background, the actual background section of Canva. You can see like they have different groupings for like landscapes, patterns, like we could do like this pretty little flower background. And if I go to edit image, I should be able, let me verify that I can do this. Yeah, you can see like me, like I can like adjust it a little bit, and I can blur the background a little. But for me, like, I just feel that while the backgrounds are like very like user friendly, I think that there's just so much more that you can pull from the just the regular photos section. But while I'm in here, like, because I'm dealing with purple, let's just type in purple and see what happens. And I get all of these images that incorporate purple in some manner that are background specific photos. But like, something like this is like, whoo, super busy. But there's a way that you can make this work. If you wanted to like have something that's super, popping off the page. I probably wouldn't recommend this, but I do want to show you guys like how you can take so many different elements of a design and create something that like works for you. So that being said, I'm just going to stick with this background for a moment, and I'm going to go up to the elements section. And this is another thing that another feature of Canva that like I cannot live without, and it's the word smear. Um, and what I love about the smear is that it creates a textured banner that I can use anywhere on an image. And so I'm in this element section. I want to go straight to the graphic smears. Um, and for those of you that follow me on Instagram and see my content on a regular basis, you're gonna be like, this is what she does with her time, because I'm a huge fan of the smear. Because to me, it's like it not only creates this depth, but it creates just it's a really great banner tool. One thing that I wish that Canva allowed me to do was to have like, I don't know how to describe like the feature without having it like be visual, but I'd love to have my words like on a curve. Like think about a ribbon, and I'd love to have the words be able to snake on that ribbon. But Canva doesn't allow for that at this point in time, so I have to make do with other methods, because what I would ideally like to do on an image is, you know, I'm going to take this like ribbon icon that I just pulled up. Oops. And I'm going to position it backward. I guess go right to the back. And I'd love it if I could have my like text conform to this like banner in a more in a smoother way. Like, yes, I could have this. I could configure something sort of like that and make do, but I'd love to have like the movement in the text, where the text is like kind of squiggly. You know, right now all that we have access to is this curve feature under the effects. So if I click on this effects in my on my text, you can curve items, and like I could have a severe curve, I could have like a minor curve, but it's only curving in one direction. So I don't have the ability to like make it like multiple curves at the same time. So how I get around that to have like some type of depth and movement to the words themselves is I use the smear. And this is my go-to. And it might seem very basic and silly, but this is something that I do on a repeated basis. So I've got this banner, this built-in banner that I have created that is separating that wild background that I had so that it's not as aggressive at this point. I can make the smear like a little transparent so that, you know, yes, the viewer can see like what's going on in the background, but again, like my text is still popping out. And I'm going to do the same thing. I did Control V to copy, and I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to send that smear to the back, and you know, you can begin to see like how we made that wild banner or that wild background that was like, whoa, that's way too overpowering. You know, now we've made it into something that is actually salvageable. And, you know, people will look at this and be like, whoa, like what is going on here? I would probably have my transparency of the background reduced a little bit more so that my book is much more prominent. And I'm going to make my book bigger and adjust the angle of those candles. I'm going to make the candles actually even a little smaller. And then you have something where like, you know, that background actually supports the image that we have on display. Now, I probably wouldn't recommend you know, picking the wildest background that you can find and making everything else work around it. But you saw like all of these different pieces that I was using to make that happen. And that's because like this platform just has so much available to it, and allows you to really, you know, be able to design something however you want it to be presented. So that was a little bit of a tangent just to prove like, hey, we can do whatever we want, and we can make anything look good using Canva. But I'm going to go to where my preferred route is, and I'm going to go look at photos. And you'll remember that I had set that filter to cutouts only. Canva does remember that for me. It doesn't automatically clear all of my filters every time I come back to a tab, which can be helpful. Or in this case, it would have been nice if it cleared it because I don't want cutouts. I want to have a background that I'm going to be looking at. So right now I've got a lot of backgrounds with candles, but because I already have the candles in the foreground, I'm just going to do, let's see, I'm just going to do a table. And as you begin using Canva and begin searching all of these different items that are available, you'll realize that like you can get away with a really basic search word and get items that you're interested in. And so like I literally typed in the word table and I got these really nice backgrounds that are available. Like, ooh, this one, this obviously does not go well with my aesthetic that I have here for, you're not probably bringing candles to a picnic table at the beach. But you have these nice backgrounds that you can use to position your book in that dimension, giving it depth and making it look like there is something more than just a flat image going on. You can also have, just a flat background if you are, I really love white tables. I don't know about them. I love images that have white tables in it. It makes me think of a nice white kitchen, and I love white kitchens. So, you can have something as basic as just like a standard textured background. But you obviously you want something that's representative of your book. And if you're not finding that in one photo, definitely play around with what's available and build something that works for you. So if I go up to the top, I'm going to remove this really quickly. You'll see that I have this table cutout, which what I can do is I can bring this, I can expand it a little bit, bring it down so that it covers the lower half of my image. I'm going to send it to the back and using the positioning tool. I really like the positioning tool. That's very helpful. And so now I have my Kindle version sitting on a table that I didn't have 2 seconds ago, along with my candles. And then I can go in and I can do a further search for a background color that I am interested in. And let me just type in I told you I was really bad at spelling. Light pink. And from here, I like to use textured backgrounds because again, I'm all about depth and giving the reader feeling like they're being pulled into something. So I don't necessarily recommend oh, here's just a flat image. Do something that plays with the light because it will, be able to help you create a sense of pulling the reader in with you. Let's start with, I'm going to start with this sparkly image. And I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to have it be replaced as background. And that's going to send it to the back and it's going to become my new background for this image. And right away I'm I don't know if I made the right call. But I'm not going to give up on this image just yet because I can continue to tweak it and make it work for me. So I make sure that I have it selected, and I know that it's selected because my little light blue lines around this, around the whole image are selected, and I'm going to click on the Edit Image button. And the recently used is recently used because I use it all the time is this Adjust. And Adjust is, if you are a fan of, updating your own photos on Instagram when you're posting and you have all the filters and you can make adjustments, this is basically what you can do right from Canva itself. And you can really change basically the whole gist of this background from these adjusters. So first things first, I'm going to start with my brightness because I think I need it to be a little bit more bright, but I don't want to lose the color that I have in that image because as I'm brightening it, you're seeing oh, it's getting whiter and whiter. and the texture is leaving as well. So I'm just gonna adjust the brightness a little bit, and I can either do that by dragging, or I can just physically type in the word or the letter, oh my gosh, the number of the brightness that I want to adjust it by, which that can be a little bit more helpful because sometimes the dragging can be, you can't get it right to the number that you're looking for. And then I'm going to go into saturation. And I love saturation because, especially when I need to give something more color, that saturation is going to enhance that vibrancy. So I'm going to begin to drag the saturation here. And you're seeing, like, in the background, that pink is emerging more and more and more and more. I rarely ever drag saturation up to 100%. The reason why I'm doing it in this particular image is because that it's such a light-based photo, and there isn't a lot of contrast with the different colors that are here. So I've really had to drag that saturation up to get a change in color. And if I'm still not happy with the color, I don't have to give up yet. I don't have to be like, oh, this image isn't working for me. You can come to the tint, and you can use the tint to just actually change the overall hue of that background image itself. And because I want to lean a little bit more into the pinks, I'm going to drag it up to this tint, the tint area where it's like the purple and magenta. And then I'm beginning to see a color that, ooh, like this is resonating with me. And I'm actually at this point going to drag my saturation back just a little bit, because I'm starting to get that color that I want. And I'm feeling that, okay, this is something that I can definitely work with. And I didn't necessarily feel that way a couple of seconds ago when I was first looking at this image, because I was seeing something. I'm actually just going to go down to reset. I was seeing something that was like washed out, pale, not a lot of color. Yes, I've got some texture, but I'm not really like getting a lot out of it. But with just a few simple tweaks with those adjuster sliders, like I've got something that is really beginning to support my cover. There are a ton of different adjusters on here. The ones that I use probably most often are brightness, contrast, saturation. I'm a big fan of blur, because blurring can begin to soften the textures that are, if you take a look right now, it's super grainy here in this corner section, where like the glitter is most condensed. But if I just begin to blur it a little bit, it takes away that like harsh focus and begins to make this more overall, like, yes, there's still texture, yes, there's still depth to it, but it's not as like harsh. I love blur. I use blur pretty much in every single background that I put on Canva, because you never want the background to overpower what should be your foreground. And that can happen a lot of times, especially like if you have setting scenery images that you're displaying, like, oh, you want people to get a sense of the setting of the book. So you have a picture of a lake or a mountain, and you put your book cover in front of it, and it's like, oh, well, that, it's a beautiful picture, but you're being drawn more into that lake and the texture that you're seeing in the grass and the trees and the water than you are in the book cover. So just like having that softness can really, make or break your image. I'm going to dial it back, the blurriness back just a little bit, because I still do want that texture. Okay. And so I think that I'm overall pretty happy with the adjustments that I've made. There are different highlights. You can enhance the highlighting, shadow, the vibrancy. Again, like maybe if you're wanting to get a little bit more color, you can come in here and begin to like play with that vibrant slider. And yes, we will get to the bottom words because yes, you can't read them right now. So we have to figure out a way, okay, like how can I catch somebody's attention with my question, but also have that resolution for them by the end. So we will get to that edit. And so with the vibrancy, you can adjust the image, the changes here are very minimal. You can see like it gets a little bit more pink at this point. So that's why I tend to like live up more in here. But I have become a fan of the shadows and highlighting, especially in pictures that I take on my iPhone, because for some reason, like I cannot take a good picture on my phone to save my life, and I have to always tweak it. So when I take pictures of Evie, like I always have to adjust the shadows or you can't see her eyes. and she has eyes. So you can definitely come in here and do some more work on the overall image. But I'm going to leave it as now and begin to move on to other sections of my design. And where we will go next is we are going to make sure that this text is visible. We have a couple ways to do that. We could use my handy dandy smear and have a little banner go at the bottom of this image. I'm going to change it to, let's have it be a nice light pink. I could have the banner run here at the bottom, and I'm going to decrease the transparency a little bit so that people can see that, like, oh, there's still that table underneath, but it's not as apparent. So I have that option. And I'm gonna play around with this. So I'm actually gonna make a copy of this design, and I'm gonna hit duplicate page because I want to keep this for reference because maybe that's what I'm gonna settle on at the end of this. But I want to play around a little bit more with these elements, and I don't want to have to risk like going, undoing all of this work that I'm putting into it when I could just like delete it. So I'm gonna drag up the transparency on this one to have that reference to see like which one's better. And I honestly think at this point now I like it more with the transparency turned up, so I can actually just delete this one and use this as my working design. But if I didn't want to do that, if I was like, oh wait, I want to keep that, just click Control Z, or you can just hit the trusty undo arrow and it'll bring the image right back for you. And I know that because now instead of 34 pages I have 35, but as soon as I click that delete, this becomes my new page 34. So I'm liking this with the transparency up because not only is it honestly like more attention grabbing at this point than the top, which could be a problem, but it definitely is popping out and it's giving me more depth to my image. I'm going to try another thing that I want to show you guys is I just duplicated my work because I want to save it. I'm going to delete that smear element and I'm going to focus on this table that I have. And I'm going to see if I can do something to the table to maybe change the color or make it so that there isn't so much shadow and modify it in a way that it's like, okay, like I want to have that depth here, but I also want my text to stand out. So I'm going to start off by just going to edit image. I'm going to adjust. You'll see here on the edit image window, I have my defaults of brightness, contrast, and saturation will always show no matter what. There's also filters where I can, I don't use the filter section actually that much because I like to have more control. But if you want to have like a basic filter to begin with, like I'm going to click the blues and it just changes the color for me. I don't use this section a whole lot. There's a different filter section that I like, but that's what this is here for. There's the photogenic section. I really like the photogenic. I don't know why it's different than the filters area because to me it looks like different filters, but you can see how it's actually like changing the overall structure of this image. And so as I'm scrolling down here, I'm thinking that I need the warmth that's here to be to lean more into a white color because this text will pop really nicely against a white background. So I'm looking here and I can see like here's one that like kind of fades out the colors that are available, and I really like how this looks here, but again, like I'm still not seeing my text. And so I'm going to go here. I've highlighted my font. I'm going to go to the effects, and I love the effects for the fonts because you can add, again, that depth so much. You can make things pop off the page. For those of you guys that have utilized my books to bundle services, this is like my secret of I click neon and I drag it all the way up. So let me make sure that you can see that here. I click this neon, I drag it all the way up so that I get this like really bright white text, but I have this nice like shadow of color behind it. And I use this in a ton of my designs, both for myself and my clients, because I just love how it like pops off the page. And you can see here, this background probably isn't the best to showcase this on, but if I were to do that with the top, you can just see like how it creates like, again, that depth and the shadow, and really kind of makes the text pop off of the image itself. So there's always that option that we can fall back on when it comes to design, you know, making sure that making your text pop out. But I really like the idea of having these two fonts and text like mirror one another. So I'm going to undo those changes as I'm going to focus more on this background. And one thing that I notice is that I can drag this table to make it larger. And so that there's not that like see this under part that's like, that's where the words are really getting lost. So it would be really cool if I could use just the top part of that table to highlight the text that I'm seeing. And let me just drag things out here. Make it, adjust it here. I'm going to use my arrows just to move, my keyboard arrows. You can use them to move your text minimally. I do this a lot. And you can begin to see like, okay, that text is much more easily readable than it was a couple moments ago. I still am not a fan of this big line that's running under here, so I'm going to come back to adjust. And whenever something is like too harsh, I always go to blur. That's like my go-to for, you know, just toning down the severity of something. But in this instance, I would probably make it, I would be very, I would make the change very, very incremental. So I'm just going to put 3. It's not a big blur, but it's enough just to like soften it without taking away too much of the detail and the texture. So you can begin to see like how you can make this work. And you can adjust the positioning. And again, it's like, oh, that line is still just really bugging me. So I think let's go back to photos. And I'm going to type in white table. And I'm going to actually use that filter that I pointed out earlier, that new filter that's cutouts only. And I'm going to apply that because it would be really nice if I could just have a like regular background. Ooh, actually, I'm going to go. The thing I love about this program is I can just like go in a million different directions whenever I want to. Okay, so I'm deleting the current table that I have. I'm going to select this one that has a glass of milk. You're going to like, Sarah, what the heck are you, why would you ever select a glass of milk? Well, I'm just going to drag that image so that the milk is no longer there. I'm going to bring it down so that we have this like depth once more. And then I'm going to pop over here and see how my intensity looks if I do my trusted neon. And it doesn't look as good as I wanted it to. So I'm going to keep looking on my white table return. Here's this milk thing again. What is it with milk? Let's try this one since it's a lighter color. Again, I got rid of the milk by just cropping out the image by using the crop tools that are shown on that photo. I'm actually going to bring the crop down just so that I don't have to deal with as much. And then drag, position it to the back. And then I'm going to come back here and remove that effect that I had. Go to edit image. And this time I'm going to actually pull my saturation down a little bit just so that like the yellowiness of that wood is removed. But I'm going to bring up the contrast so that there's more of the grain involved. And then let's see. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So now we have something that is popping, that is helping to support our words, but not like taking away, still giving us that depth, still giving us that like texture. But now I'm like not really into the current background that I have. I think that I need to like, I'm gonna do a little bit more tweaking here, because I don't like how these two colors are meshing together. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to, instead of doing light pink, I'm going to go to purple. And taking a purple, things are going to get wild for just a second. So it's like, whoa, now we can't read anything on this screen. And I'm double clicking on my image, on that image, to like drag the background to like where I need it to be. And I'm like, I don't really want this like big purple blob up at the top. I really like what's going on down here. So what I can do is I can actually flip my image so that I have basically the inverse available to me, so that I can get the colors that I'm interested in and have them accessible. And so I'm going to flip then horizontally so I get that same background. So what was over here in the bottom right-hand corner is now in the top left-hand corner, with that texture, with everything going on. And of course, I'm going to go to edit image to play around with this a little more. I'm going to do some blurring. I'm going to just jack it up to 10 to get us started, to really kind of take away the, I still want to have the depth and like the, I think that's it. I think that's it. Oh, it's back at 10. I want it to be at 8. So that I have like the texture that's going on. I'm going to drag up my brightness a little bit to make the top pop a little bit more. And there. So now we have our background, our foreground, and our text. And I'm looking at the time. Time is flying. And there's definitely some more things that I'm going to be talking about. So if you need to drop, of course, drop. But I do want to point out, there was someone who reached out to me earlier and asked for me to explain something. Movement on images. I'm going to animate this. And Canva makes animation super, super easy. I like to animate. I don't like to have everything animated because it can have like too much going on at once. I really find that words lend themselves to being animated because you can kind of help people read and like force them to read if you have like the word like pop up one at a time on your image, and it kind of forces them to like take a second and be like, wait, what's going on here? So I like to animate my text. And I like to animate like little stickers or little infographics that are a part of the design. So in this instance, what that would indicate, what that would mean for me is I would want the on sale 99 cents and the little like sticker blob behind it to be animated as well. Animation, literally, I'm going to do it right now because it takes very little amount of time. You highlight the element that you want animated. You go to the button that says animate, you click on it, and you have, for this, because I had my text window selected, I'm going to get my text animations. And I like to lead people with writing, or with the wording, so like I like to deliver it like one step at a time. So things, and what I mean by that is this bold writing section. I like to use the burst feature because see how it like, it like makes the words appear individually, kind of forcing you to read like candle maker, Hazel, catch a killer. There's also the typewriting feature that's much like more like kind of, it's not as snazzy. I I don't use the typewriter one over these two, burst and bounce, just because like for me, like these ones are fun, and I that's my author brand. But there are other avenues that you can do as well. There's this roll feature, which that one is a little bit too much for me. And I think it's a little bit too flashy for unless like you're writing a book about like a casino. I think it doesn't necessarily lend itself well to books. There's also, there's several different animations that you can do. I'm going to go with burst for this particular one. And you'll notice like, ooh, there was something happening over here. And that's because when I originally copied this from the previous design that I had created, there was animation already incorporated. So when you copy paste things, it saves the animations so that you don't have to like set them up over and over and over again. So if you have an animation for a sticker that you like to use, just set it up once and copy paste it, and you'd be good to go each time. So I've got my animation here. I'm going to come down here, and I like to have the animations be the same, because if you have things that are too different, it'll throw the viewer off and they won't know where they should be looking. In this case, where this the top text is like very like animated and straightforward, I would recommend having the bottom text actually be something that's just like more just straightforward, and I like to use breathe in those instances. So it's less I think arresting at that point, so it gives your viewer time to read the text up at the top, and then yet something is still happening down at the bottom that's like, oh, okay, and it breaks it up in a nice fashion. And so you can see like how the text is still moving even after this particular animation is finished up, so that there's still that movement in the image itself. So I've got my animations for the text and for both areas of text already set up. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this on sale icon for a moment, because I just need it to be more. Right now it's kind of flat, not giving me a lot in terms of depth and whatnot. So a trick that I use when I am creating is I like to make my own shadows. One thing that I really wish, and actually before I say that, sometimes I say things and it's like, oh, well, Canva actually did something and made this happen. I'm actually going to edit this little cloud image and see if I can make it into a shadow. Liquify, pixelate, trippy, color mix, recently used, editing your ability. Ooh, editing your image. Okay. Let me see. All right. So I don't have the option to do a shadow at this point in time for this particular item. So how I make my own shadows is I literally just Control-C to copy the item that I need to have a shadow, and I create a dual image. So I've got two little pink clouds here. I make this one slightly larger, only slightly, and then I drag it back over to where it was, and hopefully you guys can see the grid lines that are appearing, because the grid lines are telling me that I've got this perfectly aligned with the other cloud, even though I can't see it at this point in time. And so it's in position. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a darker color, purple. And then I'm going to come to position, and I'm going to move it to the back. And now you'll see that I've got this nice little depth against the cloud sticker that I've created. Whereas before, let me just do delete. It was just kind of like, just hanging out there, not really offering much. So again, just copying that element and positioning it behind, I've been able to create, a little bit of depth. And for even like more pro status on this, if you head to transparency and just like, just remove it just a little bit, let's bring it down to 85, so that it's not as harsh, but it's still offering that that sense of, there's more to this image than just like something that's slapped on to a digital graphic. Because I really, depth is like the thing that's going to draw somebody into your image. So that's something that I like highly recommend that you focus on when you are creating. Is here's something that I don't want you to do. I don't want you to take a color. I don't want you to take a flat image of your book. And I don't want you to come in and take some text that says, because that's not going to catch anybody's eye. Like, you need to have depth to an image. You can do it as simply, you can begin to get that depth, something as simply as adding shadows. So again, I just hit edit image and I'm going to put a shadow on my book cover. I'm going to edit the sliders just a little bit here to make the shadow larger, make the blur more severe, transparency, so that, again, look, even though this was like the most basic design that I could have done, now it's like it has something to it because of that foreground background differentiation. So that's one thing. If you take anything away, definitely check out being able to make things look like they are jumping out of your phone, jumping off of your Instagram profile, jumping off of your Facebook profile. So that's today in a nutshell. But going back to the design that we've been working on, I was working on this little sticker here because there had been a question about grouping, and I want to talk about grouping and how you can make how you can group things together and have them animated together at the same time. Because right now, my on sale 99 cents and both of these two little cloud images are all separate elements. So if I were going to, when I watch this as a video, and actually let me do that right now, because I don't want you guys to have to sit through all 35 of my designs as they go through a video format. I'm just going to make a quick copy, which is very, very helpful. And I'm literally just going to delete all of these as we go through. Feel free, again, questions are very much encouraged. I know that we're now almost at 2 hours, but I mean, people stream video games for like 6-7 hours at a time. I literally could stream Canva forever, and this isn't going to be the last time I do this. I'm deciding that this is actually probably going to become something maybe I do once a week, just to like help out the community at large, and also, this is fun for me. I love designing in Canva. It's much easier than working on the last few chapters of my book. So again, like, this isn't like a once in a lifetime thing that you're witnessing. So don't panic, especially if you can't hang out much longer. Okay, so I'm back to my my image. You can see up here that it's a 5-second video. 5 seconds means that my text is going to go like on the screen when it pops up, and I'm going to actually show you. I'm going to hit play so you can see, and it's just like, whoa, this is way too fast. Like, we need to slow things down. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust my timing to 10 seconds just to start things off. I don't recommend because this is an image, but we're making it an animated image. I don't recommend that you have your animated images go longer than 15 seconds, just because like then it becomes a drag and it basically becomes a static image for the person that's watching it. So you need to like find that sweet spot for, having the movement, but not having it be like too like when it's being presented. So again, now it's a little bit more like, can candle maker Hazel catch a killer? And then we have the information at the bottom popping up. But you notice, like, at the very beginning, this is what the image looks like if there is before we've hit play, because my text hasn't populated yet. And to me, it looks really weird having this, like, blob just hanging out here, like, okay, well, what is that? Is it a thought bubble? Is it, does it have something to do with this setup that we have? So I need to figure out a way to make it all grouped together so that it pops, those clouds, the cloud background pops up at the same time that my text does. Because at the end of the day, I want my image, the static image, to be just the book cover, the background, the candles, and the table. So to do that, we're going to do some grouping exercises. And the easiest way for me to group things, again, is just dragging. I'm literally just dragging my mouse across the items that I want grouped together. You do need to be careful that you're grouping the right things, because see, like how if I drag this a little bit too much, I get my candles involved. I don't want that to happen. So you do need to just be conscious of where you are dragging and what elements you are capturing. Or you can hit shift and hold down and click on the individual elements. That can get a little tricky when you have these items that are stacked up on each other, because you can see like there's a very little difference on the blue boxes here of like, this is the pink window, this is the shadow window. Like it can just be a little bit tricky to click the right one. So what you want to do is, I like to drag to select. I come up to my toolbar, I select the icon that says more, and I click on the group button. And what that group button has done is it has grouped all of these elements together, so that if I decide, oh, actually I want the on sale to be over here, I only have to select one area of that group and drag it. I don't have to worry about highlighting everything that's involved here and making sure that it's traveling with me. Because let me show you, if I were to ungroup these and I wanted to move the on sale icon elsewhere, I go instinctively click the 99 cents and drag, and I'm like, wait, I left half of my stuff behind. So that's what the grouping feature can really help you with, is making sure that everything is placed where you need it to be. And it allows you to really move with more, freedom, and not have to worry about, getting things realigned where it needs to be. So because I had animations on this before, I have the option to like play around with things a little bit. So I'm gonna start from scratch here, and I'm gonna remove the animation that was attached to the two text items. Remove animation. So now if I were to start this again, that on sale is just there already. Everything is just kind of blah. But I want there to be more movement going on. So I'm going to highlight this. I am going to go to more, and I'm going to animate. And let's see. I'm going to start with this. Play around with it. And you'll notice the only thing that was affected was that pink cloud. And because I want the whole thing to be animated, I want to make sure that I get that purple. Animate purple. I'm going to do stomp. And have my text be stomp. Stomp. And then if I come here, you can see how the whole thing moves together. So that when my static image is at the beginning, all I have is my book and my candles and my background that are available. So I don't have anything random hanging out waiting that people are like, wait, what's this? Because probably when you upload this to Instagram, this is going to be the default cover image that people are going to see. So again, like making sure that you have, you have everything displayed that you want displayed. And so you have that movement, you have your, candle maker text going in the background. But it's like, I didn't really like how that stomped looked, because it really took away from everything else. So I need to change it. and so I go back to selecting my effects. I'm going to remove the animation. I'm just trying to think what's going to be the best one for me here. I like scrapbook sometimes too. I think I'm going to do scrapbook. So I just have to swap out. What would be really nice is if I could highlight everything in this group, and actually I might be able to do that. Let me see. There we go. Learned something new. So really what I did was instead of selecting on one of those elements in my group, I just backed out and highlighted that whole group again by just dragging. There you go. So you see that everything is selected. I have the scrapbook animation, and I'm going to do in, because I don't know why you would scrapbook something out, because I want it to be displayed. And so then if I go to view, now it all bundles in together, and I can easily switch out that that scrapbooking thing. Maybe this. I think honestly pop works the best, just because it's just like super, like it's exaggerated, but it's like not overwhelming. And so that there's your animation for this static image that we've been working on. Animations are great, especially on Facebook ads. And because Canva makes it so easy to just add some movement to your image, you can do the animate to any type of feature. So here, if I like wanted to have my book animated, I could come on here and be like, oh, here's my book. You know, here are these candles that are just like neon vibing. You have that option. Again, like there's a fine line between, you know, less is more and such. So I would just recommend like don't overwhelm. Don't feel like you have to overwhelm the viewer with activity going on the image, because it's they'll be like, whoa, there's too much going on here. I don't even know where I'm supposed to be looking. You know, scroll. I'm moving past it. So I have created not only, so when the time comes to actually use these images, I have a couple options. I can download this as a video and upload it to Instagram, Facebook, wherever. And you do that by going to the share feature. They recently switched this, and there's a lot of new things that you can do, like where you can add it to Facebook directly from Canva. You can add it to Instagram directly from Canva. I'm not going to go into that because I actually do not use Canva for like my schedule or my content management. I do everything through the Meta Business Manager now that it's been called, because I just like the control. I will say that I do occasionally post to Twitter from Canva. You can link your accounts and post your image along with your 240 characters. But I don't do that very frequently, and I certainly don't do it enough that I'm going to stream about it, because I cannot claim to be very much an expert with that, because I try to stay off Twitter for my mental health. Okay, so for downloading purposes, you have the option to download it as a video, which will include those animations. Or let's say, you know, I'm going to post the video to Facebook, and I'm going to post the static image to Instagram, or vice versa. All you need to do is when you're downloading something, you just need to make sure that the file type that you're using the right file type. Canva is suggesting the MP4 video format because it knows that I created something with animations. If I am going to switch it to a PNG file, it's going to say, hey, guess what? Those animations aren't going to work, so you're going to get just a static image. Which for me, most of the time, I like to have both, because I have a lot of people that follow me both on Instagram and on Facebook, and sometimes I feel guilty posting the same image over and over again on those profiles. So I will switch it up occasionally. I probably don't use video as much as I should be using video, to be honest, because I just love the simplicity behind a image of this is what I'm showcasing. But if you are running ads, paid ads that you are putting money into Facebook to deliver your ad, it's very much suggested that you at least have some type of animation on your ad, because animated ads get a much higher return. Um, if it's an everyday post, like I use Canva not only to post about like book sales, but just about anything. Like I have a daily like project update that I share with my readers. Let me pull it up here. Where am I? Recent designs. Here we go. My I could call it my daily or Instagram daily features, where I have just like my updated goals that I'm sharing with my followers, and this is really easy because it's basically becomes a template. So for this particular one, I'm currently working on book 2 in the Glenmeyer Wind Mysteries, and so every day when I feel like it, or if I have progress, I go and I update, what my word count is, and a little tidbit on the image itself of like, hey, this is what's going on. And then in my caption, like I give my readers an update of like, hey, this is what I'm working on. This is what's happening. Blah blah blah. And I find this to be just like a really fun way to interact with not only readers but also other authors. You can see that like I'm using the same template, but I'm also switching up the like images that are being displayed to give like little teasers as to what I'm working on. So like you could see here, when I was at 44,000 words, I had some paw prints on. That's might be because one of my characters is getting an animal friend or two. And so I'm leaving these little hints for readers, and there's some buried treasure that happens in the book. So these are things that at this point only I know, and now you guys, as a writer. But if your audience is engaging and into mysteries as you are writing them and they are reading them, like they can begin to pick up on these things, and it becomes like a much more fun way to share updates with your community. But this is like super easy thing for me to do every day. Like I literally just come in here, I update the words, I maybe type in like a little tidbit or two. It's nothing. I'm not writing Shakespeare. I've got things are falling into place, things are getting wild, some wild improv on my plot by day outline, like little insights, because that's what readers are looking for. They're looking for little nuggets. But I have this set up for like all of my books. I have I'm constantly using these as templates whenever I need something to share. I need that content to be displayed. And so I just have, again, like this is another huge project. 26 images that like I can just easily reference. And like look at this one. This is this little ditty, which I've got my my little decal for my book series, along with just some this is not even me. Like this is a stock photo that I kind of just created to work for me and my author brand. So there's so much available to you. From that like templating perspective, where you can really set like all of these these really easy tools for you to use as you go on. The last thing that I want to cover before I sign off, because I am beginning to lose my voice. I usually don't talk this much during the day. I do want to show you how to make a reel, and or I'm going to attempt to show you how to make a reel, because these are things that I am still tweaking with and trying to figure out what work. I have been making these ones. I'm going to search my reels. Here we go. This is one that I did for my new book, hashtag Follow Me for Murder. And basically, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this edits trend where book bloggers are like putting together collages of images when they read a book that like showcase that particular image. And so I was like, oh, I should try that with my book. And so what I did, here's one. This one I think is a little bit more features everything that I want to talk about. Is I literally just came up with searched images that fit my book's aesthetic and put them together in like a collage format and rounded things out with a series quote. And then this was prepping for my book release, and so it is put together. I'm going to play it for you, and I think you should be able to hear the sound. Hopefully it doesn't break your eardrums. But you can see like how these images are just like popping into the reel and giving the viewer like a sense of like what this book is about without like saying anything. It's just speaking through images. And this was a 23-second video that I posted. I won't say that I've cracked the code when it comes to reels. I probably average anywhere between, depending the theme, I probably get about 500 plays on a reel like this. I find that actually like homemade reels are more effective. And what I mean by homemade is like I'm behind the camera recording something real in my life, whether it's a picture, it's an image of my book or an image of my dog, and putting it to a trending song. There are a lot of trends on reels, like people doing like this, like recording the same. Like a quote from a movie. I know The Office, they do a lot of Office quotes where they'll have like Michael Scott's voice in the background and you'll be mouthing the words, and it's really silly. And I really don't understand. I really don't understand it, to be honest. But sometimes they are funny to watch. But for me, like I'm trying to sell my books, and so trying to figure out a way to like get readers to be interested in what I'm displaying. And at the end of the day, it boils down to my dog. Anytime that I have a reel with Evie in it, I get like thousands of views, which always blows my mind. She's like a superstar. So what I thought I would show you today is how I make a reel using my lovely little dog as my model. So to create one, I am just going to go to, there are so many different ways to just like start from scratch on Canva. I'm just going to go back to the home page. I'm going to create a design. It's already remembered, oh, you were searching Reels on the other tab, so now you're searching Reels here. So I'm going to select Instagram Reels video. So it gives me the right formatting for the design, which is awesome. You don't have to go search like, well, what size should I create my reel in? And another great thing about Canva is that you can upload your own content. So what I did prior to this is before I started my stream, I took a video of Evie with my book. And I just, took it with my phone and uploaded it through, I kind of went a roundabout way because I uploaded it to Google Photos, then downloaded it onto my computer, and then opened it up in Canva. However, if you use Canva on your smartphone, you can do all of that right from the Canva app. I'm just like, I love my big gaming computer and I love using my keyboard and not like swiping and using my finger to do everything. So that's why I do take the time to upload things to my desktop so that I can have access to it. So I have this video already ready of Evie. I'm going to drag it onto the canvas. And you can see I've got, it's like a 15-second video. I don't think it has any sound to it. And so you can just see like this dog, she hates having the camera in her face. She's like doing her most to like not engage and just like totally ignore what's going on. But like, for some reason people love seeing videos like this. But it's like, I can't just like show them a picture of my dog. I have to have something else going on in this video to make it gimmicky, because that's what Reels really are, is they're very gimmicky. So I, ahead of time, put together some audio that I thought would be a great tool for me to use to help sell my book. And so I'm in the upload section. So I've got images that I've uploaded, videos that I've uploaded, and now audio that I've uploaded. I have this horribly named file that I uploaded, which is basically narration of this video that you're about to see. So hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Just take a listen at this, at Evie's internal monologue.
You're telling me that this book right next to me that I am so amazed by that I can't even look at it directly is 99 cents on Kindle? Wow, that's amazing.
This isn't going to win any Oscars, but Reels love high-pitched animal voices. I don't know. And to be honest, I love them too, because I don't know if any of you guys are Snapchat fans, but like back in the day when Snapchat originally launched their filters where they did the voice changers, could not do enough of it. But so I have this like little silly audio to go along with my video of Evie. I'm going to bounce back into my, the design that we worked on. And I'm going to steal my little 99-cent sticker, and I'm going to just add that into my frame. So that not only do I have Evie's little voice. You're telling me
that this book right next to me,
but I also have that constant reminder of, hey, this is on sale for 99 cents. I'm probably, because it is, you don't want to mislead people, because I do have a physical thing, or physical image of the book in this video. I'm going to clarify it for people, and I'm going to make sure that I put in ebook. And because I've changed the words that, you know, how the wording is displayed, I think I need to like adjust how this looks. So I'm going to quickly ungroup all of these elements real quick so that I do have the freedom to move my this text a little bit and make it, I'm going to make it a little bigger. And isn't Evie a star? She is too funny. She hates looking at the camera. It's like, who are you? I love looking at the camera. Okay, so I've adjusted where everything is. I'm going to make the 99 cents even a little bigger. Boop. And I'm going to move it up. I spend a lot of time using my arrow keys. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to regroup them. And if everything went according to plan, I think I'm going to, how should I got to figure out what is the best animation for this. Ooh, that one's fun. I like that one. All right. So we've got, I've got my sticker now animated, and you can see here, it follows Evie throughout the whole video. If I didn't want that sticker to be available, one thing that I do wish that I could is like adjust the time that this is shown for. However, I don't have that option at this point in time on Canva. So what I'm going to do is hopefully I can split my video, and I'm going to remove this ebook item from this first segment so that I get just Evie for a little while.
You're telling me that this book right next to me that I
and then
am
we
so
have the
amazed
split,
by that
and then
I can't
it
even
pops
look at
on.
it direct.
So that's a really good workaround for adjusting when like timing is available. And just to like further like showcase that for you, I'm going to split this again, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to move this onto this side. And let's say so ebook 99 cents. I'm going to just say limited time. So go ahead and remove that 99 cents just so that people know. Oh God. Is that right? My brain is dying. I don't know if that's how you spell limited. Hopefully. Let me know if I spelled it wrong. Because I'm going to be using this on Instagram. All right, so I changed my, I changed the visual that used to say ebook 99 cents. So now I can see.
Look at it directly is 99 cents on Kindle?
All right, so then I do have to remember that that animation does not carry over. Tumble, and I think I can tumble out. I gotta play with this.
99 cents?
Oh, it tumbles out of the image. Oh, that's awesome. That is something I've actually been asking for a long time. This is really exciting. Okay, you guys, real quick. So I'm in the animations right now. I clicked on this tumble, and I'm gonna click on these like little like slider icons that appear, and I get this animation that says both in or out. For the longest time, we did not have the ability to let something just like remain on the screen. And what I mean is that it was always this both feature where it's tumbling in and then it would tumble out. But sometimes I want to make sure that things are just staying on the screen. I don't want them to disappear. I could have used this like 3 weeks ago. Life would have been so much easier. This is like brand new to me. But now this is gonna like just hang out on the screen until the video ends. It's not ever gonna disappear. So that's something really important. If you don't want your text to animate out of the frame, especially if I go back to my, no, where was I? That's one thing. You can sometimes like, where's my project that I was working on? So if I don't want my, my text to disappear, so it's, see how it's like coming in and then it will then like fade out. I can like make sure that I set it so that it doesn't do that. And you can have like you can make these special adjustments where this is just animating in so that it's not going to, can Candlemaker Hazel catch a killer? It's not going to go like, it's not going to disappear afterwards, which that used to happen. I know this is probably super confusing but I'm just like totally amazed that this has been fixed because that was something that was tricky to deal with. But regardless, I'm back on my reel. All right, so I've got, Evie is, she's got her text, she's got her book. One thing that I can't do at this point is I cannot like change the composition of that photo. So I can't like enhance the colors or anything like that. So one little thing that I have used in the past is I've just put like a film over. This is gonna look weird for a couple minutes, but I put a film over my my video and I drag it down to the transparency, and like you can give yourself like a little bit of like color distortion. So like instead of having it be like super bland, I'm going to give her a little bit more shadow by I'm using black and having the transparency. See, I could like I have a black box, but if I drag it down, I'm just making Evie's coat a little bit more vibrant than it was earlier in that image. So that's like another way around it, but that's like super hacky. You don't have to go that far. Brooke has a question. Do you find any direct results from the time you spend creating all these graphics? Do you see a bump in readers or sales? I mean, I wouldn't be here talking with you today if I hadn't, because like being able to spend the time. So let me back up a little bit about my time that I spend in Canva. I've been on talking with you guys for about 2 hours now, over 2 hours now. I do not spend that much time in Canva. Good grief, no. I probably, on average, because I have gotten so good at using the platform, everything is so streamlined for me, I probably spend on average 20 minutes a day designing, creating graphics for myself. Now, I have a side business that I do where I create graphics for other people, and I spend a lot more time than that in Canva, but that is part of my work. But as for readership, like I get so much engagement off of the designs that I actually like put time into, especially reels. I get a lot of random people that's like, who the heck are these? How did these people see this video? Because I don't understand the algorithm that is used to push reels onto other people. But the increased audience reach that I've had with better graphics, with graphics that are more professional and more polished, has been I can't even begin to quantify it, to be honest, just because like it helped me so much. Yeah, I that's probably not a great explanation, but like I have been on a streak on KDP, so Kindle Unlimited, like a reading streak where I've been having people read like pages, hundreds of pages of my books since like November, which probably the longest that I'd ever had somebody like a streak on KDP was probably like 4 days. But I've had readers consistently reading my books. And these are books that I've indie published. This has not been my new book, Follow Me for Murder. These are books that I've published, that I've promoted myself, and that I have put the time in to really create marketing plans, and videos and what have you. And so because I publish them myself, I have access to all that information. So yes, I will say that without a doubt, like being able to present a professional social media platform and content has done wonders for my readership. Simply because, I mean, for my Court of Mystery series alone, let me just pull up some of the graphics that I've designed for, like, the blurred background. I do a lot with videos for my Court of Mystery series. This wasn't a good example. Let me see. Let's see. So I did a book video I've done book videos for all of my books at this point. But using Canva, like I've been able to like create these trailers where, I've been able to like reach people that I never would have before. And I just think that the amount of time that it took me to become as proficient as I am in Canva is like has been so worth it, because it is, for me, it's an extremely easy platform to use. I have fun using it, and so it's definitely just been worth every moment that I've spent in it, and worth my Canva Pro subscription as well. So hopefully, like, the best thing you can do is invest time into creating images that are professional and that sell your book. So hopefully that was helpful. Sorry if I like went on a little ramble there. But anyways, back to the reels. So reels don't have to be like super complex. There doesn't have to be a lot going on. Like this is literally probably, I may do like a couple more tweaking things, but like this is what I'm going to post on Instagram. I'm going to use a couple hashtags, one of them being dogs of Instagram and dogs of bookstagram, because dog lovers love to look at videos of dogs, as like my reels is just cute pictures of dogs. And this is what I'm going to post, and I am going to be interested to see like the amount of time that I actually spent like putting this together versus the amount of time that I spent putting together one of the the ones that I did for my hashtag Follow Me for Murder book. Like the amount of time that I spent putting this one together versus the one that I just did for Evie. Like it'll be interesting to see the return of engagement. However, I say that now. But because I use Canva repeatedly, you're going to notice, hey, this is basically the same layout, but it just has different pictures because I can easily just copy a project and swap images out. And that's one thing that I love to do when I'm in a pinch is, I can use I can keep these last 5 images, but I can switch up the images at the beginning. So let me just show you how I would do that. Let me just type in social media, and I'm going to swap out. Here's this image. Ooh, she's looking up something online, and she's furiously typing away. So I just swapped out all of those images that I had existing, and I have a brand new video. Once you have those templates set up, the animations are gonna exist. So if I go here, you'll see that I still have that nice flow in and out, even though I didn't do anything to adjust it. Whereas this one had that nice flow in and out, and because I have these nice little grid selections for the collage creation, I can literally just put all of these different images in to swap things out, and I have a completely a new reel. We didn't do a lot about audio. Let me just pull up audio really quickly. The audio, this is probably the least user-friendly portion of Canva. That being said, I still really like what I have access to. I try to use the same music for my book series. I don't have a way to favorite things at this point in time, so you can see here I can't do anything to bookmark this, so I just utilize the recently used area. But I use the same type of music for my Follow Me for Murder series. I have the same, here it is, this Jungle Thrill. My Court of Mystery series, it's fantasy based, takes place in a medieval time period, so I can lean into more epic sounding music, and so I try to use the same audio for each book series to keep on that brand theme, but unfortunately I don't have a way to bookmark it, so I have just a notebook that is filled with the names of song titles that I use in Canva Pro, so that I remember that's the song that I want to use. For the video that I made with Evie, I have my audio that I added to it, but I could actually come in here and this is about it's paranormal, so I like to use, I think this is the one. No, that's not it. Which is on Broomsticks, this one. So I can add in additional music to my, I don't know why I made that so small. Okay, let's start over on that one. Here we go. So I could add additional music into Evie's little thing, but you can see right away that it's whoa, I gotta deal with some balancing issues. So I can come up here to the volume and I can drag it all the way down. I'm gonna put it at 15 so that it's just barely.
You're telling me that this book
just barely
right next
you
to
can
me
hear it, and you can
that
still
I
hear the voice.
I'm so amazed by that
more,
I can't even look at it directly.
more prominently.
Is
So you have the ability to like use more than one audio panel. Excellent. So that being said, it's 5:20. I have overstayed my welcome. Here, I think, but I really appreciate everyone who stopped by. Again, I'm probably going to do this in the future once I get my voice back, and just because I have a fun time. You can see, like, from how animated I get, I have a fun time maneuvering around in Canva. We didn't get to like half the things that I wanted to talk about today, but we covered a lot of ground in the fact that, like, you know, building off of one project so you have all of your colors, your fonts easily accessible to you. We talked about you know, making images work for you. It might not look like it works at first, but it with you know, adjusting the color contrast, the saturation, the blur, you can make even a wild image work for your book, promo. We really only focused on one type of promo today, which was, okay, on sale. This is an on sale image. We're trying to get somebody, you know, to see that this is a book that is going to be on sale for a duration of time. There's a bunch of different ways that you can sell your book. And it doesn't have to be with saying, oh, it's on sale. Like, you can sell your book when it's full price through many other channels. I guess we'll have to talk about those later because, you know, you can do character profiles. You can really just do, again, like leaning into quotes. Maybe we'll do a segment where like we take like really good quotes to use. And I said the word good, I probably shouldn't. Really awesome quotes to use, because remember, good may feel good to us, but it's not going to feel great to someone who's just scrolling through the internet based on everything that they see every day. So there's also like those quote videos. If you have quotes from high profile authors, is amazing. Definitely lean into using those, even if they aren't high profile. If there's somebody that's active on online, you know, it's a great way to build a following, build a community. You know, I think people see the word author and they're like, ooh, you know, that's somebody who has a legitimate opinion. Side story, I'm a big fan of the royal family. I love all things royal family. I love the drama. I love just everything about them. And I tend to tweet about it. Or I make comments on Instagram when because I follow their accounts. And because my username on Instagram is author Sarah E. Burr, I get randomly quoted in these like tabloid articles of like, author Sarah E. Burr says, and it's like, then they quote what I wrote on Instagram. And it's just like, okay, nobody in the UK has any idea who I am. Maybe a couple people do, because I do have some people, I know that I have books sold in the UK. But in general, you know, somebody reading a tabloid is going to be like, author Sarah E. Burr, who the heck is that? But they're seeing author Sarah E. Burr, she must be somebody. So that being said, any quotes that you can use from your author friends, that your publisher is able to procure for you, or what have you, definitely lean into those. I myself, I kind of have a love-hate relationship using quotes from like Goodreads and Amazon reviews, because the name recognition is really good. It really helps. So if you have author friends that have reviewed your book and are comfortable with you creating content using their name, I definitely recommend that you reach out for that, and utilize their quotes, just to offer more legitimacy to, you know, convincing the person on the other end, like, oh, like, this author says that this book is great, awesome, I should read it. Rather, this random username on Goodreads said this book was good. Like, okay, all right. So choose your quotes wisely. Honestly, if it's not a person big name, sometimes I don't show the person who said it on the actual image. I'll save that for the caption because it will be there, but not necessarily high profile. But I'm definitely like, have make your quotes eye catching and fun. But again, that's a conversation for a whole nother day. So thank you very much for hanging in there with me. I hope you learned something today. I hope that this proved valuable. If you are brand new to Canva and don't have an account, I would love it if you used my referral link. I'm pasting it in the chat as we speak. Honestly, I don't think that the referral link really does much. It says we'll get to choose a premium photo, icon, or illustration. It's like, okay, cool. So we'll just get to like own some free photos. But it does help me with my aspiring goals to become a content creator. So again, if you are new to Canva, feel free to use that link. I'm going to be signing off at this point in time. If you watched this video all the way to the end, you are a champion. If you've hung with me for 2.5 hours, you are a champion. I hope that you learned something. If you have more questions, I am always accessible. Feel free to send me an email, send me an Instagram message, send me a Facebook message. So many messages out there. But I will be back and streaming this at some point because I had a lot of fun and I actually got some work done. I would like to do a session where I'm like in my hardcore, like I'm doing Canva mode and like you can see how much I get done. Obviously I did a lot of talking and explaining, but I'd like to show you how easy it can be and like how quick you can be if you take the time to learn. So that being said, thank you very much for hanging in there with me. And I hope to see you again. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.